Tom, let's do what Bob would want to do, and that's ask some questions. Let's talk about the game coming up, and that's the Liberty Bowl. And, you learned some news about Texas Tech over the weekend. They're going to be without their quarterback. That'd be something Bob would probably be asking Sam Pittman the next time and how they're preparing for that. What were your thoughts on some of the news with Texas Tech? And obviously losing your starting quarterback is beyond just big news for a football team.
Yeah, it really is, and he played so many of their reps that the backup. I mean, I'm sure they've got a quality backup, but not the experience and all it takes the pre-snap stuff, the post-snap, the execution, how you come across in the huddle, your cadence. So many things come into play. But if we're comparing who Texas Tech won't have for this bowl game versus who Arkansas won't have, I mean, they're down to their tailback situation is close to dire. They're without Andrew Armstrong, their best pass catcher, their best tight end has, and then Isaiah Satania. So really, the skill position guys. I mean, it's almost 80-something% of your touches almost are gone. So it's going to be a bunch of younger guys catching the balls and running it. I mean, Rodney Hill, he had a little bit of a MCL during the season, so he's probably going to have a big load. And Tyrell Reed, who scored a touchdown in the opener, will probably get some action too. So it's going to be fascinating to look at what the depth chart is.
Yeah,
for this game.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you next of you and try to pencil one out, because I was just thinking about just sheer number of the 85 scholarship players. Is that number going to reach 50 that are available for this game?
Let's see. If there's 85, there's 35 gone. Yeah, they should be able to have 50. And
if they don't have any injuries.
Yeah, and of course you don't want that either. And you think about the last Liberty Bowl, Rocket Sanders injured his ankle in the first quarter. Tykeus Crawford, he got injured in the first quarter. So we saw, that was really Amarian Harris's first big contribution. And then clearly they had a nice running attack that day between KJ and Dubinion and A.J. Green. And, I mean, they ran for a ton of yards on Kansas in that game. Thankfully for them, there's a little bit more depth right now on their defensive side. I mean, you're out your defensive ends, which is, that hurts you, and a safety in T.J. Metcalf. But I think otherwise, their corners, the guys they've been rolling with recently are there. So they should be able to piece the secondary together pretty well. And then the linebacking core, I believe, other than Brad Spence, you got some of your big contributors, and I think Switzer will be back. So you'll have Sorey, Stephen Dix, and Switzer, and, I guess Carson Dean and Caden Henley are gone. Oh, yeah, so you got a little bit of a depth issue there. And then on the front, you'll have Quincy Rhodes and Anton Junkaj and the freshman Henderson and Collins, and then a little bit of depth at tackle. So yeah, they're much better position on defense right now.
Tom Murphy with us here, courtesy of the Arkansas Beef Council. Tom, on that note, we've been kind of kicking around the college football calendar and versus tampering, which is worse. Seems like the college football calendar, making that change is on the forefront. What would you change in the college football calendar around bowl season with the portal if you had your say?
Man, I've listened to, and you guys have probably seen these, and the listeners have probably as well, some of the more impassioned remarks. Jay Norvell at Colorado State the other day had some good ones. You saw Jeff Traylor, the former Arkansas running backs coach at UTSA, talk about this is the adult problem. This is the administrators in college football. It's not the players' fault. And that you see the backup quarterback on a playoff team go in the portal because of the academic calendar and how it doesn't match up with the recruiting calendar. So I don't know exactly what I would change, because it was universally accepted and I think lauded that they changed the early signing date to December. Mm-hmm. So, all your freshmen who are coming in, but now because of having to enroll in January and all the preliminary stuff you have to do, the guys getting in the portal have to do it now. And it is a big time mess. I think when they agreed, the NCAA dropped the ball on understanding that NIL was coming because of the Ed O'Banion case that dates back, decades ago. They dropped the ball on not being able to implement it. I don't know, but it's a Pandora's box of issues that, compensate the players. Well, how are they going to be compensated? Oh, well, they can sign agreements with, auto dealerships and grocery stores and all. No. It went immediately to collectives, and it is a huge mess. And I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you on how I would start to fix this. But I know I've got people who are in the older generation than me who are fed up. I mean, they love college football, but the state of it right now is it's just too much for them. You look at Arkansas, you want to root for the kids, but you hardly get to know them when they're one-year transfers and then they're gone. Look, Addison Nichols, he's been the times we talked to him. What a lovely kid, man. He's a great talker, but here he came and he's gone. So you hardly got to know him, And so I feel for the fans who invest themselves in the programs and then get one-year players.
And that's, again, something coaches have to deal with, not just here, but in Pittman. They've had a lot of guys exit, a couple guys enter the NFL draft process. I think they're now up to 4 guys after a recent signee being Michigan State transfer defensive end Ken Talley. What have you thought about the guys that they brought in thus far in terms of signees, Tom, out of the portal?
Well, certainly, I mean, the big offensive lineman from Oregon God, that's massive, and you could be you plug him right in pretty quickly. I would think Oregon has great depth there. I know he didn't play much, but and then some of the other guys are just additions that you need to have to start having a competitive roster for next year. Sam Pittman said a few weeks ago that what they do out of the portal is going to be one for one. You lose a receiver, you bring in a receiver. You lose 2 cornerbacks, you got to bring in 2 cornerbacks. So the depth of their signing class is the freshman. There's some promising talent in there. And the D-line, some of these guys will need to bulk up, but there's some promising talent there. But to have ready-made players, they're going to have to go pretty deep in the portal to do the one-for-one that he's talking about.
Yeah. Tom Murphy with us, brought to you by the Arkansas Beef Council. We really haven't reached the point where staff changes are happening. Does that wait till after the bowl game? Does that go till after the first of the year? Or do you think the staff is back intact?
Wouldn't it be a long shot for it to be fully intact? I mean, because the nature of the game today. Mm-hmm. But that's why I specifically asked Sam Pittman when we talked to him last about that, because we know the Charlotte and Bobby Petrino deal. We know the Florida State that I don't know how serious or how in-depth it was with Travis Williams there. But Travis Williams, in my mind, is a promising enough defensive coordinator that he's going to be, in demand. Is it this offseason? Not sure. Could be. But also, we could get through bowl season and there could be changes. We could get through spring practice. I mean, coaches leaving now can happen really almost at any time. So I would just say the odds are in favor that it's not going to be fully intact. But, having another year under Petrino with Taylor Green, that's a good thing. And I think adding more defensive talent and Travis Williams further implementing his defense, I mean, they had some really strong defensive showings this year. The Tennessee game comes to mind, the Texas game, and there's been a couple of others where they were kind of like blueprint stuff. Oklahoma State comes to mind on how they defended, both Ollie Gordon and the pass game. So, long-winded answer to the question. No staff change is imminent, it doesn't look like, but to say that they'll come back intact, might be a little bit of folly.
Before you go, let's bounce over to basketball because kind of a light couple of weeks, and then you've got 2 non-conference games, including this Saturday with North Carolina A&T. Best showing of the year, I think, without question, against Michigan at Madison Square Garden. What are your thoughts right now on this team and where they're at? And with Adu playing more minutes, are they starting to round into form?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously not completely at full strength, but rounding into form. And you can just tell from Coach Cal's comments that he's feeling better about the direction they're going. Because I think 2 weeks ago, I mean, you heard him say it. He's a stream of consciousness guy. What he's thinking, he's saying, and sometimes the thoughts aren't, fully formed sentences. They wander off in weird places. But he's saying the SEC is so tough, people are wondering where they're going to get wins, and they're looking at Arkansas saying that could be one of our wins. But I do believe they're going to be a tougher out in league play. Opening at Tennessee is brutal. I listened to and watched some of their game with Illinois the other day, and what a classic game that one was as well. Head-to-head comparison. Arkansas played Illinois, and Tennessee did, and Tennessee beat them on the road. So it's going to be a wild SEC season. You're hearing people say that up to 12 teams from the conference could make the tournament. I don't know. That might be too deep, but it is a very, very strong conference. And I do think Arkansas is playing its best ball now. They're rounding into form.
Sounds like a baseball conversation. Tom,
Yep.
Good stuff. We'll talk to you later on this week on Thursday morning.
Will do. See y'all.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.